Hola clase, hoy vamos a hablar sobre el presente del subjuntivo. Okay, so the topic for today is present subjunctive, and in fact, how to form the present subjunctive. We're not going to talk about usage today at all, just simply how to conjugate in present subjunctive. Okay, on your note guide, you see you have 3 steps to forming present subjunctive. Step 1, go to the yo form of the verb in the present tense. Step 2, drop the O. Step 3, add these endings. If you have an AR verb, you're adding a, es, hemos, or en. If you have an ER or an IR verb, you're adding a, as, a, amos, an. Okay, so let's take a look at some regular verbs. If we have the verb hablar, which means to speak, okay, let's take it through the steps. Step 1, the yo form of hablar is hablo. Step 2, drop the O. You're left with habl. And then we're going to add these endings. Okay, so it would look like this. Hable, hables, hable, hablemos, hablen. Okay, let's look now at an ER verb. Let's look at comer. Comer means to eat. Let's take it through the steps. Yo form of comer, present tense, is como. Step 2, drop the O. You're left with com. And then we're going to add these endings. Your conjugation should look like this. Coma, comas, coma, comamos, coman. Okay, so that's going to work for all regular verbs. You just take them through those steps. With present subjunctive, there are some spelling changes to consider, stem changes to consider, and irregular verbs. Okay, so we're going to talk briefly about each of those. First up, what happens if I have a stem changing verb? Okay, if you have an AR or an ER verb, a stem changing verb, that stem change will occur in the boot, just like it did in present tense. So let's look at pensar. Pensar means to plan or to think. Excuse me. Its stem change is E to IE. And we're going to change that here just in the boot. Okay, so let's look at its conjugation. You have piense, pienses, piense, pensemos, penses, piensen. Okay, so up here in the we and the vosotros, no stem change. All right, IR verbs, slightly different. They're going to get a stem change everywhere. Okay, so that means here in the nosotros and the vosotros, you're going to stem change. Okay, there is a little difference here to be noted. Look at pedir. Pedir's stem change is E to IE, comma I. Okay, so its E is going to become I in all forms. Okay, so its conjugation in present subjunctive is pida, pidas, pida, pidamos, pidan. But look at dormir. Dormir is an O to UE, comma U stem changer. Okay, let's look at its conjugation. The O is going to go to UE here in the boot. But here, outside the boot, it's just going to get this one letter change. Okay, so its conjugation is duerma, duermas, duerma, dormamos, duerman. Okay, so you have to be careful with IR stem changing verbs. They will have a stem change everywhere, but there can only be a one letter change here in the we and the vosotros. Okay, so if it's like dormir, where it's O to UE, comma U, or it's like sentirse or sentarse, which is E to IE, comma I, okay, then it only gets a one letter change in the we. Okay, moving forward. Because of the nature of how you form present subjunctive, step 1, you got to go to the yo form, present tense. Think about all of the irregular yo verbs you know in the present tense. Here's just a few. Okay, you've got tener, which goes to tango, salir, which goes to salgo. There's a whole bunch of those that have go in the yo, like pongo, vengo, etc., hago. Then you've got some other funky spelling changes that occur, like conocer, or verbs like producir, or any of the CER, CIR verbs. In the yo form, to preserve pronunciation, they go to sco. Okay, so like I know is conozco. Okay, they put the Z in there so that you're not saying conozco. Okay, so that's going to impact conjugation. Escoger. Its yo form is escojo. It's got a J, again, for pronunciation. Any verb that ends in G-I-R or G-E-R has an irregular yo change. Okay? Then you have verbs like seguir. Seguir's got an irregular yo. It's sigo. Or verbs like incluir, which have that yo, or excuse me, have the Y in the yo to preserve, again, pronunciation. If you don't remember all the irregular yos, we reviewed them in Chapter 1 of Conversación y Repaso. You can find those lists on pages 12, 13, and 14, okay, of your book. 12, 13, and 14. All right, so let's look at a couple irregular yo verbs. Let's first look at tener. Okay, so let's take it through the formation steps. Step 1, go to the yo form. We got tengo. Step 2, drop the O. Step 3, you're adding the opposite endings. So you're going to add the A ending. So a, as, a, amos, an. Its conjugation is going to look like this. Tenga, tengas, tenga, tengamos, tengan. Okay, same is going to be true for salir. Its yo form is salgo. You drop the O, add the endings. Salga, salgas, salga, salgamos, salgan. Let's look at conocer. Let's look at escoger. The yo form is escojo. So you have here escoja, escojas, escoja, escojamos, escojan. You'll notice here on your note guide, I only required you to write down these first two, but you're more than welcome to write down all of these conjugations. Okay, I just wanted to make sure to give you plenty of examples. Let's look at conocer. Okay, the yo form is conozco. Then you're going to drop the O, and you get conozca, conozcas, conozca, conozcamos, conozcan. Seguir, you're going to get siga, sigas, siga, sigamos, sigan. And with incluir, incluya, incluyas, incluya, incluyamos, incluyan. Okay, so just remember that all those irregular yos and we had in the present tense, those are going to impact the way you do present subjunctive. Okay? Reminder, if you don't remember these, go back in Conversación y Repaso. Okay, starting on page 13 and 14. Well, it starts on 12, 13, and 14. You can find the list, okay, if all of these don't look really familiar to you. Okay, we need to talk about other spelling changes that are going to occur. If you have verbs that end in car, gar, or zar, they're going to have spelling changes in order to preserve pronunciation. Okay, so a verb that ends in car, the C is going to become QU. And that's everywhere in the whole entire conjugation. Okay? If you have a gar verb, a verb that ends in gar, your G is going to become GU. And if you have a zar verb, your Z is going to become C. Again, just to preserve pronunciation, this should seem very familiar to you. You saw this with preterite conjugations in the yo form only, and you saw this with commands, and you saw this with or last year in Spanish 3, okay, when you were doing present subjunctive. So let's look at a couple conjugations. Here's sacar. Okay, we have saque, saques, saque, saquemos, saquen. You have pagar, pague, pagues, pague, paguemos, paguen. And you have organizar, organice, organices, organice, organicemos, organicen. Okay, again on your note guide I didn't have you write down all three of these, but by all means, if that would help you, please write it down. Okay, so again here, remember if you have a car, gar, zar verb, you've got to have a spelling change in order to preserve pronunciation. Okay, next up, we have what I call the dishes verbs. These verbs are just flat out irregular. Okay, they don't have changes because of pronunciation or a stem change or an irregular yo. These verbs are just flat out irregular. Okay, you can't take saber, for example. You can't take that, put it in yo form, present tense, which is say, and then drop the O. You can't do that. Okay, so you just have to memorize these verbs. Let's go through their conjugations. Please write them down on your note guide. Dar is de, des, de, demos, den. Notice we've accented the yo and the he, she here because we don't want it to be confused with the word of or from, okay, which is de without an accent. Ir. Ir goes to vaya, vayas, vaya, vayamos, vayan. Ser. Ser becomes sea, seas, sea, seamos, sean. Haber. Haber becomes haya, hayas, haya, hayamos, hayan. Special note on haber. Remember, haber is that funky verb that, unless it's a helping verb, it only has one form. Okay, so in just regular present subjunctive, we're going to be using the he, she form here to say, like, I hope that there is a quiz on Friday. Okay, so yo espero que haya. Okay, you won't use these other forms until we talk about present perfect subjunctive. Okay, where haber be used as a helping verb. All right, estar's conjugation is esté, estés, esté, estemos, estén. And finally, saber, to know, is sepa, sepas, sepa, sepamos, sepan. Okay, again, I call these the dishes verbs because it's just a good acronym to memorize them. Okay, the DISHES, dishes verbs. Okay, so we're going to just, again, practice with pure conjugation. That's all your quiz is going to be on this week. Can you conjugate in present subjunctive? All right, all of these sentences require you to conjugate all verbs in the present subjunctive. Let's do the first one together. I hope they read that book. Okay, you should go to the yo form, leo, drop the o, and add the opposite ending, lean. Okay, please pause me and work on numbers 2 through 10. Okay, let's review. Number 2, I hope you write, escribas. 3, the teacher hopes that we study, estudiemos. 4, I hope, he hopes that I do, haga. 5, you hope that she drives, conduzca. Did you get that? The yo form of conducir? It's a SCO verb to preserve pronunciation. Tricky, tricky. Number 6, I hope that you come to my game, vengas. 7, I hope that they close the door, stem changer, cierren. 8, I hope that she serves us coffee, again, stem changer, sirva. 9, we hope that you look for, busques. Did you remember the spelling change to preserve pronunciation? If you didn't, if you wrote C, then you just wrote buses. You don't want buses. Okay, preserve that sound. And number 10, I hope that Juan arrives, llegue. Again, did you make the spelling change? Or did you write yehe? You don't want yehe. Okay. If you have any questions, please write them down on your note guide. Also, I would like you to review what's in the book. Okay, starting on page 115, read about formation of present subjunctive. Okay, muchas gracias. Adiós.